basically Celine Dion is set to make her return to the stage, and it is going to be a very, very big deal. It's going to be her first performance since halting her tour schedule and stepping away from the spotlight back in 2022 after being diagnosed with stiff person syndrome. She did arrive in Paris on Monday.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown. I'm Headband Adam today. Over there is Dax Holt. How are you guys?
Oh man, what is going on with your hair today?
You know what? I was cleaning out my car and I saw a headband. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear a headband today. I haven't worn my head during COVID. I wore I couldn't get a haircut.
Yeah.
So I had this mop of a hair. I didn't know what to do with it. So I went online. I got a cool headband from this like fun brand. And I just wore the headband all the time.
Considered your cool one?
This is my cool headband. The headband, honestly, Dax, and again, I know some people are not watching the video. Some people are just listening. The headband makes me feel like Matthew McConaughey during the Malibu, the drums, the bongos, whatever.
When he was high on weed, just naked playing the bongos.
Yeah, that's summer. That COVID summer with me playing the bongos. I just feel like Matthew McConaughey all the time. I was like, that's the guy. That's the Matthew McConaughey that I love. That was the era that I loved him. So that's why we're in the headband right now.
I gotta say, you see my hair? This has been hat hair all day, but It looks pretty good, right?
It looks good.
Hair?
It looks cool.
I feel like I actually styled it, and I know people can't see it. So if you want to see it, there's the video version, which is over at Red Coral Universe, where we get better split of the money. So go to Red Coral to watch us, or you can head on over to YouTube and check us out there. And I'm sure there'll be some clips that go up on social media. But we're having an interesting hair Friday, I would say.
Definitely. I actually am so curious with some of these celebrities how often they color their hair. Like someone like Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe, his hair always looks great.
It has to be all the time. Look, I'm 42. Do you see how gray mine is already getting? Like I'm like, what is happening to my life here? So I'm probably pretty close to having to dye my hair or something. I mean, it does I feel like I can get away with it. I can go gray, right?
Yeah, but someone like Rob Lowe, I feel like Rob Lowe has someone come to his house every week to color his hair.
Probably. But if you got the money, why not?
It's pretty cool. All right. This is the Raw Rundown, the top 10 stories of the week, where we give you the top 10 stories. It's brought to you by data. It goes by Google search. And lastly, it goes by what people click on. We kind of give our opinion, but honestly, I always say it goes by the data, just like it goes down in any single newsroom. Dax, is that accurate?
100% accurate. Accurate in... Actually, a lot of it is just, whatever the hell is interesting for the week. Let's be realistic. There's a lot of weeks that sometimes no one's even clicking on the website. So we're like, you know what? Data is not showing too much. We need to help it out a little bit. So there is a certain aspect that is us influencing as well.
And that definitely
would be one of this week.
Yeah, this week, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's a shit week. Don't blame it on us. Blame it on writers taking vacation, taking on editors, being out, traveling through Europe, just having fun on the company's dime. Like, no one's working anymore. I had a good story this week, and I wrote to an outlet, and they're like, honestly, we like the story. We just don't have anybody to write the story. So, that's just what's going on. But let's, before we get to the top 10 stories of the week, we love reviews. We love them so much. We actually read them live on air. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
I got one. This one comes from Laura Stratton, 5 stars. Titled The Best, and it says, these guys are the best. I always pick them first to listen to. They really know their stuff and look forward to their next podcast of the week. Hell yeah. I like being in first position. Thank you, Laura.
That is very nice of Laura. Shout out to Laura. You're now part of the club. You're invited to our Thanksgiving dinner. You're allowed to go trick-or-treating with us. And
Laura, the company holiday party, which is right here on StreamYard.
Imagine we should have a Halloween party for the fans.
Just everyone jumps on the StreamYard. We just put out a link and everyone can jump in. That'd actually be kind of fun. Why
That would
don't we
actually
do
be
that?
kind of interesting and kind of fun mostly. All right. Let's get to the top 10 stories of the week. Dax, starting with number 10.
We got a soap opera star accusing her boyfriend of abuse and then kind of denying the whole thing. So Jessica Serfati, who is, a pretty big soap star, I would say. She's also dated Ed Westwick, Logan Paul, Niall Horan. She's, a pretty big deal, I would say. She's got this boyfriend who is a billionaire. He is one of the guys behind the Luxottica empire. His name is Leonardo Del Vecchio. I hope I said his name right. But if you don't know Luxottica, they own the brands Ray-Ban, Parasol, Sunglass Hut. I mean, you could go on and on. I want to say Luxottica also owns Oakley. I mean, so many different brands are under Luxottica. It's like one of the biggest brands in the entire world when it comes to sunglasses. I guess it actually is the biggest brand. Anyway, this guy and her, they've been dating for some time now. They've been pretty public on social media. And she went and accused him of abuse on social media. She had this like teary Instagram video, and then all of a sudden took it all back and basically withdrew the allegations. And, he's a pretty big businessman. And, I got to say, it's probably not a good look for him out there in the business world when your girlfriend's accusing you on social media of beating her up. And keep in mind, she's a Days of Our Lives actress, and they've been together for a while. So a lot of people know them together. But she then, said, I apologize for whoever I could have affected with yesterday's story. Sometimes a family can have their own arguments, and these should never be made public. She said, I would never stay with an abusive man. And he, Leonardo, is not, I revoke my words that were driven by anger and not in truth. He will always be a companion, a stepfather to her kid, and a family person to me. So a weird story that basically went out, got a lot of press, and then she pulled back very quickly.
Yeah. The Girl That Cried Wolf. Weird story, but honestly, Dax, what we said in the beginning, it's a shitty week in news. I mean, I don't care about this story. It was messed up that she said something. She revoked it because it was very, very tough allegations against a billionaire who could probably sue her for everything she has if he really wanted to.
Does it put on your tinfoil hat and go, did something happen? And then there was like, hey, you might want to take that back, or I could ruin your whole life. I don't know. There's so many things that could happen. There's so many different conspiracy theories that could happen with a situation like this.
Listen, fighting with a billionaire is a very scary thing to do. And I had a billionaire who owned a website that owed me $8,000. He owned the company, and I didn't really deal with him that much, but it was a small company. And the guy owed me $8,000 just for work I did. And I wanted to be like, man, just pay me the money you owe me.
$8,000.
What is $8,000? Just pay me for the work I did for you. And they basically closed the LLC. They wanted me taken to court, and it would just cost me so much money because he had endless amount of money. He would have just did it out of spite because he didn't want to have that on his record. Just like, no, just keep running it, because he'd rather just not have that mark. It was just so. It ended with him selling the company to another person, and then they used my videos without my permission. Well, they had the video. Now the new company owned the YouTube page that had my content, and I went after them on YouTube saying, you're using copyrighted material. And they went to me like, hey, what's going on? I told them what happened, and then it was a whole crazy ordeal. And I said, listen, someone here owes me $8,000, and they wound up paying. The new company wound up paying me the money because they didn't have the YouTube check against them.
Nice. Smart.
Yeah, stupid, but that's what I have to do to get paid. Shitty business, Dax. Shitty business. Dax, speaking of shitty business, well, it's not shitty business. I just get into more
shitty story.
Another shitty story. Dax number 9.
Clint Eastwood's longtime partner, Christina, passed away, and now the cause of death has been revealed. And this is just days after the actor kind of addressed her passing. She died on July 18th, and apparently of a heart attack at the age of 61. By the way, I had no idea that she was 61. She looked so young. Every time
Right?
every time I saw them on a red carpet, I thought she was a lot younger.
Yeah.
I like a lot younger. She looked very young. Anyway, sad story. The death certificate listed her cause as a cardiac arrhythmia, which is an abnormality in the timing pattern of the heartbeat, and it led to her death. So sad story. I know that her and Clint had been together for quite some time. They'd gone to a lot of events together. We've seen a lot of photos of them together. He's 94. And he put out a statement saying, "Christina was a lovely, caring woman, and I will miss her very much." I didn't feel like it was a very heartfelt statement, but we're going to go with it. I guess they met when she worked as a hostess at Eastwood's Mission Ranch Hotel and Restaurant in Carmel by the Sea, California, and then started dating and never got married or anything like that, but were together for a long time.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how long they were. Well, I didn't know they were together for so long. Clint Eastwood, first of all, is the man of Carmel, California, correct, Dax? That's where he resides?
Yeah, he's a big dude up there.
Have you been to Carmel?
No.
Oh, it's so cool.
Maybe I've passed through it, but I don't think I've ever really stopped there to hang out or anything.
It's actually really cool. I'm surprised you've never been there, being a Californian, but it's just a very cool thing to go.
Adam, I try not to leave my Orange County bubble as much as possible.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't do it. But sad news for Clint Eastwood. He's a private guy, so it's not like he goes and told a big PR route. He kind of kept it basic, simple, and our condolences if that even matters to him at all. But number 8.
Haley Steinfeld and Josh Allen are finally going Instagram official. They have been together for quite some time. Obviously, Haley, big actress, but also singer. Josh Allen, her quarterback boyfriend. He is the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. He is also a very big deal. And so they are one of the biggest, kind of private power couples in the game. And they really don't post about each other. They don't talk about each other. But he did post a couple photos of them in Paris. It looks like they're out there for the Olympic Games to start on, starting today on Friday. He posted a photo of the two of them looking over at the Eiffel Tower. And then there were some golfing photos and hanging out photos and all of this. And it's always, I always find it so funny that there's stories when someone goes official on Instagram, like, cool, they posted a photo of each other and now it's Instagram official.
Yeah. I kind of like them as a couple. I like they weren't gross. It seemed it seems very genuine, and they've been very private about this relationship. So I don't know. I just think it's very cool how they've handled themselves. Even him, I think the way he handled himself and she's handled himself, everyone sort of knew they've been together because they've been photographed together, but they don't really speak about it. So I think it's just nice that they took their time with this relationship, especially in they're such public figures, and and it's cool that she doesn't mind going to Buffalo. Who wants to go to Buffalo? Okay, I'm gonna go to Buffalo to see this guy. So I think it's kind of cool.
Everyone was all excited when the Bills were playing the Chiefs because, Haley and Taylor Swift are good friends. And so everyone was waiting to see if there was going to be that moment when they're the two friends get to hang out and then their boyfriends are on the field together. And I guess it didn't really happen. But anyway, so yeah.
No, very cool. Congrats. Number 7, Dax.
Number 7, if you haven't heard, there was a bit of some drama going on between David Arquette and Lala Kent. Apparently, David was on Watch What Happens Live and started talking about how Lala wasn't exactly one of the nicest people that he has ever worked with. He said that they didn't really have any scenes together, but they were on screen together and met her a couple of times, and she was, quote unquote, not the friendliest to him. And he said that she gave me a little attitude. I felt a little attitude. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to give attitude. I was like, why am I getting attitude? And so he was honest about that. Well, she went on to Instagram and wrote a big old apology. She said, by the way, because everyone started attacking her, like, David Arquette is the nicest guy in Hollywood. Why would you be rude to David Arquette? Well, this is her response. She said, I apologize if I was not friendly to you on the set of Spree. Oh, I said Scream, on the set of Spree. I'd like to point out I was on the set with many people, you being one of them, who are well-known, established actors. I'm a girl on reality TV. I felt intimidated and a bit like I did not belong, all while being incredibly grateful for the opportunity. I am sorry if it came off as an attitude. It was not my intent. So maybe he just misjudged the situation, because I do feel like sometimes when people are shy, embarrassed, awkward, they can come across as not kind. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe a little resting bitch face, but maybe it wasn't the case. She just was like, I don't belong here. Why am I here? I want to be here, but I feel like I'm out of place.
I think he was fair to have that opinion on her. It's not like somebody it didn't seem like somebody he held a grudge with. However, I do think the way she handled it was very well. And I think she did maybe try to DM him. I mean, I'm guessing she may have DM'd him. However, in her post on Instagram, she, addressed it, and flat out apologized and said everything. So, I mean, there's not much else to be said there. Do I think they're going to be the best of friends? I don't know, but I respect her apology. I thought it was a good apology.
I like the humility in the apology, and I think
agreed.
That's one thing that we always talk about, like the PR side of it for people and how to issue an apology or how to deal with a crappy situation. This was well done. Yeah.
I thought she did a good job. It was a good apology, and David Arquette's not wrong to have that opinion. I think he felt like it was a little like he had to answer the question, and he was honest. But again, Lala, good apology. Other people should take note. Dax, number 6.
Oh, and I was going to say, he did reply. He did say, thank you, Lala. He said, I got caught up in the gossip nature of the clubhouse. I am also a ball of nerves in general and could have taken the whole situation out of context. So all is good between them now.
All good. Dax, number 6.
Number 6, Jon Voight calling out his daughter Angelina Jolie, saying that she just is being influenced by a bunch of anti-Semitic people and she doesn't understand the situation going on over in Israel. Jon Voight, not someone to hold back on any of his political stance. He is a big Trump supporter. He's a big Israel supporter. And I would say Angelina is quite the opposite. She does not like any of those things. But he recently did a wide-ranging interview with Variety where he kind of ended up talking about their differences in opinion and slamming her, saying that she's influenced by anti-Semitic people, and those anti-Semitic people he is saying is the United Nations. And, she served as an ambassador for the United Nations Refugee Agency. He says that is not the best group, that they feed a lot of propaganda to others. And she has fed into that propaganda because she is not really digging deep and finding out the information. He basically suggested that she was ignorant on what the real stakes are. And he added that that the UN, they've obviously influenced from the beginning. It's been an awful with human rights. They call it human rights, but it's just an anti-Israel bashing. So, they've obviously been had a strained relationship for many, many years. She's cut him out of her life. Then he comes back. It seemed like they were actually doing pretty well as of recently. I remember him showing up to a couple of the Broadway shows that she was producing, and I thought they were doing good. Maybe he's just, I feel like it was a conversation they could have had quietly, but I'm glad that they are talking about it publicly because this is big stuff going on in the world.
Angelina has some opinions. Jon Voight, who's very vocal about his opinions. They have differences. I don't know if Jon Voight used maybe the best of words because it is a relationship with his daughter and it is a little bit more personal. But I mean, everyone's fair to have their opinion, whether you like it or not. But maybe his choice of words, because it's his relationship with his daughter is a little bit of a
touchy
sensitive subject.
Yep. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe they're fine with it, and maybe they have conversations and they agree to disagree, and she's maybe not surprised by this. I don't know.
I will say,
I remember her not being like, just don't talk about me publicly, is basically what she a long time ago, how she felt.
yeah, I will say I did meet John Voight a few times.
Yep.
Always. Have you ever met John Voight?
Oh, have I met John Voight? Man, I feel like I have, but I don't remember.
Dude, the nicest guy.
Yeah.
He's so nice. He's a really nice guy. Just cool, nice. Yeah, very nice guy, I have to say. So that's personal, but yeah, interesting what's going on with the relationship between John Voight and his daughter, Angelina Jolie. Dax, number 5.
Number 5, the first trailer for the Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown, has been released. And so now people are seeing Timothée Chalamet as legendary folk artist and giving their opinions on how they are liking the trailer or if they're excited. Keep in mind, Bob Dylan has probably one of the biggest fan bases in music. And so you mess this up, you're going to have a lot of problems on your hand. Did you, and by the way, this whole thing is set in New York, in like 1965 is basically when they're doing this movie. Did you see the trailer by chance?
I saw the trailer, and it's crazy how quick they're turning this movie around, because they just start. They're still on. I saw them filming not too long ago, and usually these movies, the trailers are almost like a year later. But yeah. I saw the trailer of the movie. It looks really cool, and I'm not an anti-Bob Dylan. I'm just not a huge Bob Dylan fan. I am curious about him, but I thought that based on what it looks like a movie that you'd want to watch. I'll say that.
It's so funny you say that, because I thought that I was the only one who was like, okay. I was never a big Bob Dylan fan, but I know he has a crazy amount of fans. Like, he is a really, really big deal. People love him. I just was like, why do I not have this huge love for Bob Dylan? I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm just not. It's not my era.
Yeah.
It's not my generation. The only song I really know from Bob Dylan is like, "It was a story about the hurricane." But besides, I do find him to be a very interesting guy based on what I've read about him.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know everything about Bob Dylan, but I
just feel like I'm like too young. Like I didn't get to see the Bob Dylan in his peak. I don't know. I feel like that about even like Alanis Morissette. Like, I loved Alanis Morissette, and I feel like people who are younger than me won't understand how big she was when she was like at the peak of her career.
Yeah, I was more Fiona Apple. So
what?
We differ. No, I'm just kidding. I like Alanis Morissette. And it's funny now because when you see Alanis Morissette now, she's the exact opposite of what I feel like she was when she first came out. Where she was like she was kind of like a dark person when you first heard about her. Now she was
scorned.
Yeah,
someone scorned. And it made some great music.
No, she's great. I don't know how we went from Bob Dylan to Alanis Morissette, but what a transition. Dax, number 4.
Oh, this is a big one. Celine Dion making her comeback performance at the Paris Olympics. That should be tonight. Shoot, with the time change, it might be going on right now. I don't know when you're listening to this versus when the Paris Olympic opening ceremony starts. So, but basically Celine Dion is set to make her return to the stage, and it is going to be a very, very big deal. It's going to be her first performance since halting her tour schedule and stepping away from the spotlight back in 2022 after being diagnosed with stiff person syndrome. She did arrive in Paris on Monday, and I guess there's some rumors also that Lady Gaga might be another person opening at the ceremony. But yeah, it's this, with all the struggles that she's gone through and everyone knowing her health issues, and I think she'd even said, performing and having nerves and doing like that can actually trigger the stiff person syndrome, which is a very, very painful disease to be diagnosed with or to have. And I'm like, you're going from not performing in front of anyone to literally one of the biggest stages in the world, because the opening ceremonies of the Olympics are watched around the entire world, millions and millions of people, probably billions of people. And I got to think that is a lot of pressure and stress. And so I'm a little surprised she said yes to this one, but I guess if you're going to do it right. And she's getting a fatty paycheck from it. Did you hear how much she's making?
What, $2 million?
Yeah. And it's for one song.
One song. I guess that's really like all she could really do. But again, this is worldwide. And if you're an Olympian, you're like, fuck, Celine Dion's going to take all the attention from. Do you know that the ratings of the Olympics drop every year?
Yeah, it's not as exciting as it used to be.
Yeah, my buddy, like, that's why, like, the next month is going to suck for TV, because all you're going to hear about is the Olympics. But again, it gets really sad and nobody cares. And the ratings, just nobody watches the Olympics. Nobody cares.
I don't know why. I used to love them so much. It doesn't do it for me anymore. I don't know.
I think we also have been screwed in the last few years where it's like the Olympics are in a place that's a 15-hour time difference. So I'm not going to stay up overnight and watch the Olympics. Mm-hmm. So it's just, we'll see if they try to make social media tries to make some of these people stars, but there will, and that's what's going to happen. Social media is going to create maybe 3 to 4 stars from the Olympics. The rest of them are going to come back to New York and they're going to walk around with their medals around their neck, and everyone's going to walk up, hey, can I get a photo with you? Who was that person? It happens all the time, and it's really, really sad. But it's good for Celine Dion to have a little bit of a comeback performance for her confidence. And it's just going to be good to see her.
But hey, this might not be the end of what you're seeing of her, because listen, according to TMZ, she may be making a big return to Las Vegas in regards to a new residency. They're claiming that there's people with direct knowledge saying that she's in the final stages of negotiating with Resorts World for a residency that will start in either late 2024 or early 2025, and that negotiations have gone on for several months, saying it's basically a done deal. She's doing it, and AEG will produce the show. So maybe this is kind of like her first, let's test the waters, see how I do. Maybe she's feeling really good that she's got her stiff person syndrome under control and that she could do it. But yeah, this is huge.
Yeah, should be exciting. Dax, number 3.
Number 3, another massive star we're going to talk about, Cher, who's 78, is now releasing a 2-part memoir that she will share her true story in intimate detail. I mean, it makes sense. If there's ever going to be someone that would need a 2-part book deal, it's going to be Cher, right? Like the amount of stories this woman must have. She's had such an incredible life. A really interesting life, but the part 1 will be released on November 19th. The second one is set to be released in 2025, and she's going to talk all about her complicated relationship with Sonny Bono. She'll probably maybe talk about her romance with her new boyfriend A.E. Edwards, but HarperCollins basically described it as, after more than 70 years of fighting to live her life on her own terms, Cher finally reveals her true story in intimate detail. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good read.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I'm going to read it, because I barely read anything these days, but I feel like it would probably be a good read if I was going to read.
Yeah, I will not read it. However, I do think she's someone that people are curious or interested in. So,
100%.
Yeah, it's kind of cool for Cher to write a book. Will she actually write it? No, but she'll.
But why do you give people a hard time for that? Not everyone's a writer. They need someone to write a book for them. Cher's not going to sit down at her typewriter and be like, click, 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 like that. That's not going to happen.
In my head, I just want to envision them sitting at the computer just writing a book. I don't want to sit them in a room just hanging out, having drinks with a friend, telling stories, and the person writes a book. That's
going to be the best way to get the stories out of someone, though. Like, hand these celebrities a drink and be like, all right, tell me your craziest night you ever had. Not type it out. Just tell me. I will record it and I will turn it into something that people can read.
Yeah, Dax. I mean, here's the thing. Me personally, I'm looking into writing a book soon or eventually. And the thing is, like, I'm going to write it. And there's like so many different angles or directions I want to go.
You're not going to be able to write a book. You have the stories for a book. You're not going to be the one typing out the words. Not a chance.
You'd be surprised.
No,
you'd be surprised. Watch. Because you know why? I have no choice because I'm gonna have to self-publish it because there's no way I'm gonna get an agent. So that's the only way the book will come out. But yeah, I want to get some stories out. All right, let's move along. Number 2, Dax.
Zendaya and Sam Levinson. It seems like
well, first of all, who's Sam Levinson?
Wow, I'm getting to that. Jeez. Okay. He is the director of Euphoria, and he and her had a bit of a spat going on because it's taken Euphoria season 3 a very long time to get going. A while back, he reportedly blamed her for holding up production, basically said that because she was so focused on her film career that she was putting no time into Euphoria, and that is what was holding it up. And she was going, no. It's not just because of me. It's because of you as well. And blaming him for his busy working schedule because he was also working on HBO's The Idol, the one with The Weeknd, which honestly didn't do very well. But the both of them doing other schedules and working on multiple things caused Euphoria to get put on the back burner, even though it was a crazy successful show and everyone was waiting for it. But it sounds like maybe they have kind of hashed out their differences and, because they used to be like really close during the first and second seasons, and that they had this kind of little bitter standoff. But now that they have patched that up, everything will be good to go. And that July 12th, that main cast was coming back and the show would start production in January 2025. So don't worry, you're not getting a new season anytime soon. They're going to film it and then it's going to have to go to editing. And so you probably won't see it till the end of 2025, maybe early 2026 at this point.
I'm still surprised Zendaya is like the star she is. Not saying she's not talented. It's just wild to me because I just remember her like when she first started in the scene to like what she is now. Yeah. I mean, there's this, and this is not like taking anything away from her. I just remember she was around, and then all of a sudden, with the flip of a switch, she became like A list.
Yep. She became the it girl of Hollywood for sure. Like, and a lot of it is because she's become like a fashion muse that people love to see her fashion. She's dating a huge star. She was on a hit show. She's been on massive movies. Like, it was like the perfect combination of everything coming together at once for someone.
Yeah. No. Good news for Euphoria fans. The show will come back. I think that's also the difficulty of creating television with like big stars. I mean, people get a lot of work and you need everyone to kind of buckle down and say, okay, everyone got their free time now. No one working on any other projects because now.
No, you know what they do? All they got to do is put it in the contract and say this show's in first position. So you put a show in first position, then all of your other side projects have to wait for this show to be done. And it doesn't sound like they did that. And I don't know why you wouldn't have done that with someone like Zendaya, who clearly is very busy, a lot of things going on. And if Euphoria, I mean, maybe she had already started her movie career. And so, I mean, I guess she did have a movie career before all this. So maybe it just wasn't put into first position. And so it had to get sidelined for other projects.
Yeah. Dax, the number 1 story of the week.
Oh, Prince Harry, crediting a lot of those tabloid lawsuits for contributing to the royal family rift and saying that he really wishes his mother could have been around to see all the victories he's had recently. And this is all in a new documentary, Tabloids on Trial. If you've been watching all the sagas going on over in the UK, in December, a judge awarded Harry damages totaling about $178,000 to close up a lawsuit against the Mirror Group newspapers, which is the Mirror, the Sunday Mirror, the Sunday People. And then a judge also ruled that there was unlawful information gathering tactics and agreed to a further settlement of about $505,000 to the Mirror Group for invading his private life. So he's been very proud of being able to kind of stop the onslaught of invasion of privacy by all these tabloids. And he basically said, my mom had to deal with this a long time ago, and they always called her crazy, or they called her paranoid, but she was one of the first people where they were tapping her phone lines and listening to her conversations. And he said, that's happened to me before as well. He goes, I first became aware that my phone had been tapped when he saw a headline about his longtime girlfriend, Chelsea Davy. And the headline was basically Harry's girl to dump him. And he goes, that's really weird that they know something before I even did. And he goes, it really confirms all my mom's paranoia, fear, worry, concern, distrust. And, I'm happy with the progress I've made.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it. Do you disagree with that, or what are your thoughts on that comment?
No, I listen, he already gets a lot of shit on a daily basis, but whether you like him or not, I got to imagine growing up in such a big spotlight, it has to be very difficult, and a spotlight where people feel you owe them everything about your life. You owe them every detail, because the royal family, at the end of the day, they are the face of, the UK. And so people feel like, well, we are funding your lifestyle. We deserve to know every aspect of it. And I feel like that's got to be really hard, because you didn't choose that. You were born into that.
Yeah, I don't think people really consider that perspective, and I'm all about perspectives when it comes to Prince Harry. And that doesn't mean I'm the biggest pro Prince Harry thing of some of the decisions he's done, some of the actions he's done, but it's a unique angle to kind of look at it as. I mean, I kind of take that statement that he said about his relationship with the media to kind of like what's going on with Ben Affleck and J-Lo. And I'm sure with everyone talking about the future of the relationship, are they together? Are they not? They haven't seen each other in 35 days, blah, blah, blah. It's got to take its toll on the relationship to have that on the back of your mind and walk around the streets and wondering people just thinking about you, wonder what they're talking about you.
Well, I think also, listen, we are two guys working in this industry where we are reporting on people's lives. We're talking about, the photos and videos that were taken of them. But I feel like a lot of the attention, or the way that the media has obtained information from him personally, not all of it's on the up and up. When you're tapping phone lines and you're looking over walls with cameras and you're sneaking into places where these people live, that's the part where I think he's going, it's gone too far. This is not me walking down a street shaking hands with people and you getting photos. This is phone lines are being tapped to hear every intimate conversation. And I don't know that it's like, that's where the line gets crossed, and it's not okay. There's I can't imagine having a private conversation with someone and then finding out that everything I said was being listened to by a third party, and now everything I've said is splashed all over the news. Like, God, that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just hope there's just so many different ways to look at the Prince Harry situation. There's so many perspectives, angles. It's a very unique thing, and I think that's why it's a good news story, because it just keeps going. It just keeps going, Prince Harry. I don't know how, but I understand that statement. But it made a lot of news. Anything Prince Harry, Meghan, always becomes worldwide news, and people are clicking on it. That's how we do the top 10 stories of the week. If you're watching on Red Coral, thank you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you check out our private Facebook group called Off the Record. We also have a fun TikTok page and Instagram. We're on it all. Follow me at Adam Glyn. Follow Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Guys, hope you liked that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best you can do to support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.